Imagine walking down a busy city street. Suddenly, 20 people sprint past you in absolute terror, looking back over their shoulders. Your heart rate immediately spikes. You don't stop to ask questions. You don't look for the danger. Your legs simply move. And before you know it, you are running with them. You have just surrendered your rational mind to one of the oldest, most volatile forces in human history, the hive mind. Throughout human civilization, we have witnessed spectacular and terrifying moments of mass delusion. From historical witch trials and sudden economic bubbles to modern internet cancel culture mobs and stadium riots, history is plagued by instances where thousands of people simultaneously lost their minds. But this isn't just about peer pressure or bad behavior. It is a predictable, highly structured neurological hijack. When individual human beings gather under specific conditions, their unique personalities melt away, forming a single, primitive, highly reactive, collective organism. How does an intelligent, peaceful person transform into an unthinking part of a destructive crowd? Today, we break down the 10 structural stages of mob mentality and social contagion to see exactly how groups erase individual sanity. Stage 1. The loss of the self. The descent into mob psychology begins with de-individuation, the loss of individual identity. When you're alone, your brain stays self-aware. You monitor your behavior, consider the consequences, and judge your actions using your personal moral compass. But the moment you enter a large, emotionally charged crowd or hide behind an anonymous online forum, a powerful psychological shift takes place. Your sense of individuality fades as you blend into the crowd, creating the illusion of complete anonymity. As personal accountability feels weaker, your brain stops asking, "Is this right or wrong for me?" and instead follows the group's behavior. Anonymity doesn't instantly make people evil. It simply unlocks primitive impulses that your civilized identity normally keeps under control. Stage 2. The emergence of social contagion. Once individual self-awareness fades, the group enters stage 2, social contagion. In behavioral science, emotions spread much like viruses. Panic, rage, or excitement can rapidly move through a crowd through subtle, unconscious social cues. When people at the center display intense emotions, those feelings quickly radiate outward. This process is driven by mirror neurons, which automatically copy the body language and emotional states of those around us to keep us socially connected. In a crowd, this feedback loop operates at full strength. You absorb the fear or anger of nearby people before your conscious mind even recognizes it. Within minutes, thousands of individuals become emotionally synchronized, breathing together, chanting the same slogans, and sharing the same manufactured sense of rage. Stage 3. High suggestibility and hyperfocus. As the collective nervous system synchronizes, the crowd enters a state of extreme suggestibility, entering a collective trance-like state. Your field of vision and cognitive processing narrow dramatically. You suffer from a form of psychological tunnel vision, focusing exclusively on a single target, enemy, or goal designated by the collective. In this hyper-focused state, the critical thinking centers of your prefrontal cortex go completely dark. The brain stops evaluating logic, checking facts, or processing nuance. If someone in the crowd screams an accusation, the group accepts it as absolute truth without a shred of evidence. The collective mind becomes entirely primitive, operating on basic binary lines: us versus them, safe versus dangerous, good versus evil. You become highly malleable, ready to be steered by anyone loud enough to command the group's focus. Stage 4. Ideological polarization. With critical thinking sidelined, the group's beliefs undergo rapid ideological polarization. When diverse individuals gather, you might expect their differing opinions to create a moderate compromise, but group dynamics prove the exact opposite happens. This is known as group polarization, When people who share a similar baseline belief discuss a topic in an insular group, their views become vastly more extreme. Inside the crowd, moderate voices are viewed as weak, fearful, or traitorous. To maintain standing within the tribe, individuals begin competing to show the most radical devotion to the cause. Nuance is entirely erased. The group moves further and further away from reality, building an exaggerated, hyper-polarized worldview where their cause is entirely holy and any dissenting viewpoint is an existential threat that must be stamped out immediately. Stage 5. The weaponization of confirmation bias. Once the group's extreme worldview is established, it enters Stage 5, the weaponization of confirmation bias. The human mind naturally favors information that confirms existing beliefs and rejects information that challenges them. Inside a mass delusion, this bias becomes amplified. The group spreads rumors, conspiracy theories, and misinformation that reinforce its shared anger. Any evidence that contradicts the narrative is dismissed as propaganda or fake news. If someone presents objective facts, the mob often attacks the person's credibility instead of addressing the evidence. The result is a self-reinforcing cycle where even proof of error is reinterpreted as confirmation of the group's beliefs. Stage 6. Total dehumanization of the outgroup. For a crowd to cross the line from a loud protest to destructive action, they must conquer the natural human aversion to violence. This requires Stage 6. Total dehumanization of the outgroup. The target of the mob's anger, whether it is a political rival, a corporate entity, or an internet scapegoat, is stripped of human complexity. They are no longer spoken about as fathers, mothers, or flawed individuals. They are branded with reductionist biological slurs, compared to parasites, cancers, or monsters. This psychological framing shuts down the brain's baseline empathy networks. By convincing the crowd that the enemy is subhuman, the mob reframes their toxic aggression as a moral duty. They aren't ruining a life or committing violence. In their own minds, they are simply clearing away a threat to ensure the survival of their tribe. Stage 7. Diffusion of responsibility. With empathy weakened, the final barrier to action is lowered through diffusion of responsibility. If someone stands alone and considers throwing a brick through a window, they usually hesitate. They recognize the consequences and feel personally responsible for their actions. But in a crowd of thousands doing the same thing, the psychology changes. The individual thinks, everyone else is doing it, so I'm not personally responsible. As accountability becomes shared across the group, guilt and self-restraint fade. Shielded by the crowd, ordinary people can end up taking part in acts they would never commit alone. Stage 8. Systemic moral licensing. As the group acts out its collective impulses, it embraces Stage 8, systemic moral licensing. Normally, humans avoid bad behavior to preserve their self-image as a good person. But inside a mass delusion, the mob completely flips the moral script. Because the group believes its cause is profoundly righteous, whether they are defending a nation, fighting an injustice, or protecting a tradition, they give themselves a license to be ruthless. Cruelty is reframed as courage. Destruction is celebrated as liberation. The psychological guardrails of civilized behavior are entirely cast aside because the individual believes they are acting on behalf of a higher power, a holy ideology, or the collective good. They use the supposed nobility of their destination to justify the horrific nature of the path they are taking. Stage 9, the hysteria peak. All of these compounding psychological layers inevitably culminate in Stage 9, the hysteria peak. This is the chaotic crescendo of the mass delusion, where the crowd operates at maximum emotional energy and minimum logic. At this point, the mob functions as a singular, unpredictable, multi-headed beast, driven entirely by adrenaline, cortisol, and dopamine. In this explosive state, the crowd frequently turns inward or attacks itself. The slightest rumor of betrayal or a sudden shift in the wind can instantly cause the mob to fracture. Paranoia reigns supreme. Anyone who hesitates for a microsecond or suggests stepping back is instantly targeted as an enemy. The collective energy becomes completely unsustainable, burning through the psychological and physical stamina of every individual caught in its current. Stage 10. The hangover of reality. Eventually, the adrenaline clears, the crowd breaks up, and the individuals return to the quiet isolation of their own homes. This triggers the final agonizing stage, the hangover of reality. Sitting alone in a quiet room, away from the contagious energy of the hive mind, the prefrontal cortex slowly reboots. Self-awareness returns, and the individual is suddenly forced to look at the footage, the logs, the destruction, or the ruined lives left in their wake. They look at their actions through the cold, unyielding lens of individual accountability. The psychological shock is profoundly disorienting. People frequently look at what they did during a mass delusion and experience a deep sense of alienation, asking, how could I have done that? That wasn't me. To survive the crushing weight of shame, many turn to heavy psychological denial, pretending they weren't there or claiming they were forced to comply. The delusion vanishes, leaving behind the sobering reality that the beast wasn't a monster from the outside, it was simply the collective sum of their own surrendered minds.